Hi everyone, this is Yuri, source creator, and I thought I'd like to give a few updates on my consciousness and my journey. I've got some watermelon here that I'm eating. One thing that's been developing a lot in my life has been the Breatharian journey. So I started on like a Breatharian path about a year ago. Just developing an awareness, being exposed mostly through YouTube at first with different breatharians, bringing certain breatharian consciousness and awareness. And I learned a lot about the lifestyle, and it's something that resonated with me. It's something that I would like for my life and my existence. So I've been kind of working on myself to develop my pranic consciousness, if you will, to kind of raise my vibration, and ultimately, I would like to transcend physical food and drink as well. That's one not it's not for everybody, but it's one thing that's been prominent for me. And I live by myself. Well, I have a couple roommates, great gentlemen at the moment, but I live without any like personal relationships, so I'm free to think however I want, and I don't have people's belief systems impacting me. So I know that breatharianism is absolutely possible for human beings. And I'm sorry, I was just eating some watermelon. So I know that breatharianism is definitely possible and is being exercised today by people. Um, and that's something that's been powerful in my journey. So I'm on a pranic journey now with the aims towards becoming breatharian slowly. And what else? Consciousness and DNA. I still meditate a lot. However, I find that in my current reality, in my current vibration, things are not as emotionally powerful as they were in previous states of my awakening. So when I was in Arizona, I was going through deep, like, um, when you're first connecting with your soul, it can be extremely emotional because you're connecting with that purity, that light that you've totally forgotten, and it can be very overwhelming for a long period. For me, it was several years. I'm in a different stage now. It almost feels like I'm unconscious again. I kind of am in my new reality. I have some responsibilities in my world now. Responsible for this household and etc. Financial responsibilities more so than the time when I was waking up. But I guess it kind of feels like I'm in I'm in a more unconscious, less soul state, but that changes when I meditate. So um, I have to meditate frequently in order to elevate my state of consciousness and raise my vibration. So basically, my day-to-day life is no is it's not like emotionally powerful as it used to be a few years ago when I was in Arizona. Maybe it was the different energy of the place because now I'm in Tampa, and it's kind of like there's there's definitely new earth vibrations available here, but it's not like as magical a lot of the times. I feel like I'm in a denser consciousness, which would naturally there is some of that at play here, being in a dense city. So I'm in a dense city now instead of in Sedona, or Tucson, which were my previous locations. When I meditate, I'm able to raise my consciousness to um, higher remembered state of consciousnesses like universal consciousness. So, but it's very hard to maintain in my day to day. I think just because of the vibration of my reality, and I'm not at an energetic capacity to like hold a grid of universal consciousness in my home, like in Tampa. You know, just like I'm still integrating light. I find that there's so much light. There's so much consciousness for us to integrate. it's like it's very hard to fathom as a human. So I feel like it's a long journey, ascension, elevation of consciousness, transcendence. Becoming multidimensional is a long process. Unless you live in a very high vibrational place, and you know, if you don't have any worries, anything that you have to do in the physical, maybe it can be much more rapid. But my journey, I'm finding that universal consciousness does take some time to integrate, and it's the one thing that I've wanted ever since I started waking up, was to embody universal consciousness and transcend the physical. And that is something that nobody has ever understood, except for maybe a small group of people that are more aware. But yeah, I'm in like a new, it feels like a new phase in my life that I'm working through, like a new chapter where I'm not completely connected all the time with like the higher states of consciousness and higher vibrational awareness. It's a little more humdrum during my day, but I'm working on that. I'm trying to develop my DNA. I'm trying to activate more of my consciousness, more of my DNA, so I can hold a higher vibration. I trying to think if there's anything else that I want to share. Yeah, all of my expansions have been through meditation or through music. So music will also raise my consciousness, but it feels like previously, man, when I was living in Arizona in like my own energy alone, I was living in like a expanded consciousness for longer periods of time, it felt like. And now here in Tampa, I feel like it's more humdrum consciousness, and my expanded states take a lot of focus. And then when I come out of meditation, I feel like I have to kind of come out of meditation to do stuff. I just, my human aspect of me finds it challenging to hold that expanded state of consciousness throughout the day. So I have to frequently meditate and to return to that sacred universal consciousness that some of you have experienced before and know that is like our true self. I call that universal consciousness or source consciousness. But we are fulfilling service roles wherever we are. It's really important to honor our journeys and our processes wherever we are, but we can always take time to focus and intentionally seek to expand. I always recommend meditation and any kind of activity that can raise your level of consciousness, because you can gain more awareness when you're in that expanded state. And it's also interesting to experience what it's like to be in universal consciousness. So I can talk a little bit about that here, my experiences. In one of my discussions with a gentleman, he said that it's basically like you're imagining what it's like, and it's kind of like that. You can imagine yourself as an embodiment of the universe. But for me, I know that that's like a deeper truth for me, within me, to know that and feel a cosmic reality inside of your body, inside of your being. So for me, I believe that I am the entire universe in a physical form of a human being. And that's what I find is the most powerful concept to meditate with in order to expand my vibration and elevate my state of consciousness. And I use the physical reality to help me in expanding my consciousness by imagining myself, my physical human body, on the earth, sitting in a room, in a building, a house, whatever, on the surface of the earth. So I can see and feel my physical body inside of myself, sitting on an earth that is revolving around a star, going through a galaxy in an infinite space, a cosmic scape. So you can do that little exercise with yourself in meditation, because it's true, is it not? Unless you follow, subscribe to the flat Earth experience in consciousness, which is perfectly valid for those who wish to experience a flat Earth reality. That's great. For me, I choose to experience and create a cosmic universal existence, and that's how I expand my consciousness, and I find it very powerful, and it is real for me. Whether it's imagined, all realities are imagination to some degree. So you embody the universe, you embody all of these cosmic clusters and energies and galaxies and planets and stars, and you can see all of them within you, and that's how I meditate to expand my consciousness. And then the goal is to embody that level of awareness all the time. So what if you could walk around? You'll notice when you're meditating on universal consciousness, things are not, you see it, it's like dust in the wind. You're just like a little human on this planet that's been created and given birth to life out of an infinite love force that is your true source awareness. And to understand intellectually and emotionally that we are capable of accessing and connecting with this primal, divine, infinite source of love, which is the source consciousness. So that's what we are. That's what's speaking to you right now, and that's what's listening inside of yourself, is this divine and unfathomable, primal, beyond time, beyond anything, love consciousness. That's our true source. That's our true essence. And so if you know that, and you can understand that you can have access, because you are this energy. The only reason you don't experience this energy all the time is because we have a human mind that operates at a lower level of consciousness. The human mind, it's our programming. We took on programming with through limited DNA, destroyed DNA. However you want to explain or describe it, our sacrificed DNA has limited our ability to experience and live as our divine source consciousness. So repairing your DNA becomes very important, becoming aware of everything that affects your DNA, seeking to purify your body. And this is a journey that I'm on. So I want to purify my DNA, raise my vibration, integrate higher dimensions of my DNA, so that then I can live as our higher self-consciousness. Because your human body and your human mind, what you think is you, like if you're listening, the aspect of you that you think is you, your ego, that you probably live as this ego version of you day to day, that's a small fraction of your higher self-consciousness. So you're really a higher self, like a universal cosmic being, cosmic consciousness, with a little human aspect of you that has limited, destroyed DNA, two-strand DNA, which limits your human's ability to be connected all the time with your higher self, the higher consciousness of one, of the entire universe. It's all you, It's all one consciousness, and we want to. That's what ascension is, right? We are embodying in the human beings that are walking around are becoming connected with the infinite, the all one consciousness of the universe. So that's our ascension of consciousness. And we have to upgrade our DNA. That's what the whole DNA thing is about. The more we integrate higher strands of DNA, multiple strands of DNA, purify our body, raise our energy levels, that with the higher dimensional DNA comes the higher consciousness. Your consciousness, awareness as a higher dimensional being, becoming embodied in the physical suit, in the physical human being, through upgrading DNA. So it's important to eat, healthy foods. Me personally, I like to practice fasting, and I'm seeking to become more of a breatharian as a personal trajectory towards integrating higher states of my consciousness. Getting a lot of sunlight is really important. The sun is just pure source codes, pure source light. So that's just like infinite universal light coming onto your body. I delete and release all of the programming and the indoctrination of this human world about the sun. What else could possibly be better for your awakening in your consciousness than the source of life? So I just let all that go and let my body absorb as much as it needs and as much as it can. And when I feel like it's getting, too much, go inside, take a rest, whatever. But I get as much sun as I can all the time. And as much as I put a lot of priority in getting sunlight. And everyone that's on this journey, if you want to upgrade your consciousness and accelerate, I think you should. You don't have to do anything, but I think it's important for all of us to prioritize getting the pure light onto our being. Anyway, that's kind of a lot that we shared. I hope maybe some of it was useful. Thank you. Thank you for being interested and invested in your journey towards elevating your consciousness. It is a long process, but at the same time, it's really not, because we're already there. We are already ascended beings. We just have to get present, remember who we are, and connect within ourselves. But the perceived journey and the perceived process is just because we go back into our heads, and we get caught up in the mental world of the human. But we are just a source beings. We are already transcended of everything. But you have to I have to close my eyes to remember that, and go deep within. We are already source, and time does not exist, but that's a state of consciousness. So if you are connected within yourself, centered, you understand and you remember that time is just a creation of a human mind. It's a figment of your imagination. And when you are fully connected within yourself as your center of the universe, you understand and you realize that there is no time, because everything is complete and perfect within yourself. So within your being, all is complete, all is whole, all is one. Time ceases to exist. So, and you realize that the more centered, the more deeper within yourself you go, you'll understand that there's no time, there's only now. So anyway, I don't know why we went into all that, but I guess I did. Okay, guys. Thank you so much. It's great to be with you here on this journey. And goodbye, peace, and blessings for now.